Lesson 5, Bacteria and their effect on humans. Bacteria are classified according to their effect on humans in the following categories. Number 1, harmful or disease-causing bacteria are known as pathogenic bacteria or pathogens and cause various diseases in humans, animals, and plants. A person cannot see, smell, or taste pathogenic microorganisms in food, but can become very ill from them. Food contaminated with pathogenic bacteria has no change in taste, smell, or appearance, and is difficult to identify. Victims of foodborne illness usually do not detect any change in the taste of the food that can sicken them. Number 2, undesirable bacteria, which cause decomposition of food, are often referred to as petrifying bacteria. These bacteria accelerate the decay and decomposition of food. Spoiled food is easy to identify by changes in the color, taste, odor, and texture of the food. However, spoiled food is not a cause of foodborne illness. Because of obvious changes in smell and color, spoiled food rarely ends up being eaten. Number 3, beneficial bacteria are used in the production of various foods, including cultured milk, yogurt, cheese, and sauerkraut. Number 4, benign bacteria.
How do you spell benign?
BENIGN. Are neither helpful nor harmful to humans. Of the hundreds of thousands of strains of bacteria, most fall in this category. Next area. In order to understand food sanitation practices, it is necessary to know a few facts about the microorganisms that cause food spoilage and foodborne disease. Bacteria, commonly called germs, are extremely small plant-like organisms that can only be seen with a microscope. 1 billion could fit on the head of a pin. Like any living thing, bacteria requires food, moisture, and the proper temperature for growth. Bacteria are found everywhere on the earth, in the air, and water. The soil abounds with bacteria that grow on dead organic matter. The main objective in protecting public health is to control and destroy pathogenic, disease-causing bacteria and those that cause food spoilage. Proper food handling and storage can keep these organisms to a bare minimum. Spores. Some bacteria are able to protect themselves under adverse conditions by forming a protective shell or wall around themselves. In this form, they remain dormant while awaiting the right conditions for them to grow again. During this dormant stage, they are called spores. Bacterial spores can be likened to the seeds of a plant that are also resistant to adverse conditions and only grow when conditions become favorable. During the spore stage, bacteria do not reproduce or multiply, but with proper warmth, moisture, and air, they resume their normal vegetative stage and growth. Since spores can withstand rigorous conditions, they are difficult to destroy. Fortunately, only relatively few pathogens, for example, TETANUS, tetanus, anthrax, and botulism,
How do you spell botulism?
BOTULISM, anthrax, or spore-forming bacteria. Next section, bacterial reproduction. Bacteria reproduce by splitting in two. This is called binary fission. Therefore, their numbers are always doubling. One bacterium generates two, and each of these generates two or more, resulting in a total of 4. The 4 then become 8, and so on. Rapid bacterial multiplication compromises food safety. This happens under certain conditions, including moisture, warmth, nutrition, and time. Under ideal conditions, one organism can become 2 in as little as 20 minutes to 30 minutes.
How many?
20 minutes to 30 minutes.
No, not how many can it become?
2. Next area. This ideal rapid growth is called the log phase. All bacteria will reach this rapid part of their growth under proper conditions. Bacteria begin their growth cycle by adjusting to any new environment or condition by being in a resting phase. Let me go back. Stationary and death phases occur with the depletion of available nutrients, and the production of their waste products. Next section. Conditions necessary for the growth of bacteria. The acronym FATTOM, FATTOM.
I'm sorry, what was it?
The acronym FATTOM.
Something called, spell it?
FATTOM. Provides an easy way to memorize the 6 conditions necessary for the growth of bacteria. Food is the first. Bacteria requires food for growth. The foods that they like the most are the same foods that people like. Generally high-protein foods of animal organ such as meat, poultry, fish, shellfish, eggs, milk, and milk products. Bacteria also thrives on plant products that are heat-treated, such as cooked potatoes, cooked pasta, cooked rice, tofu, and soy protein foods. Bacteria also grow well in seed sprouts and garlic stored in oil. All these foods are considered a potentially hazardous food because they promote the rapid growth of bacteria. The next one, acidity. Bacteria generally prefer neutral foods or foods that are low in acidity. Foods with the high levels of acidity deter bacterial growth. This is why vinegar, which is an acid, is used as a preservative in foods. Acidity is measured in pH. In a scale from 0 to 14, any food with a pH value of 4.6 or less is considered too acidic for bacteria to grow.
So if it's from 0 to 4
From 4, yes, 0, value of 4.6 or less, so yes.
is considered high in acid?
Is yes. So bacteria won't grow.
4.6 to 14. Okay.
So only foods with pH value of more than 4.6 are considered to be hazardous. There is an inverse relationship between pH and acidity. The lower the pH of food, the higher the level in acidity.
We already explained that.
Yeah, and the higher the pH. Okay, good. Wonderful. Next, temperature. In general, bacteria prefer warm temperatures. Those that cause disease and human growth most rapidly between the temperature of 41 Fahrenheit to 140. The temperatures they use. This temperature range includes normal body temperature and usual room temperature. However, different types of bacteria prefer different temperatures. Oh, goodness, these words. I don't even know. PSYCHROPHILIC.
No. Say it, do it again.
PSYCHROPHILIC. Bacteria. Thrive in the cold and grow in temperature below 50 degree Fahrenheit. Mesophilic.
Spell.
MESOPHILIC. Best grows in a temperature between 50 degree Fahrenheit to 110. This is the group of the greatest concern. Thermophilic. Bacteria thrive in heat and grow best in a temperature between 110 to 150 or more. And one way to control the growth of bacteria is to ensure that potentially hazardous foods are not held within the temperature danger zone. This means that potentially hazardous foods must be kept cold, less than or equal to 41 degrees Fahrenheit, or hot at greater than or equal to 140. The rule of thumb is hot foods hot, cold foods cold. Next section is time. Bacteria requires time to grow and multiply. When conditions are favorable, one bacterium will split and become two every 20 to 30 minutes. Thus, the more time spent in the temperature danger zone, the more bacteria will be produced. It is sometimes necessary to hold raw products without refrigeration during preparation and seasoning. In this case, such preparation must be done as rapidly as possible. A useful technique to minimize the exposure of foods to the danger zone is to batch preparation. Next section, oxygen. Some bacteria called aerobes, Aerobes,
Yeah.
need oxygen from the air in order to grow. Others called anaerobes, Aneropes, thrive with no air or oxygen. Still others will thrive whether oxygen is present or not. These are called FACULTATIVE.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, moisture. Bacteria needs moisture or water in order to survive. They absorb food in a liquid form through their cell wall. If there is not enough moisture, bacteria will eventually die. Bacteria can therefore be controlled by removing moisture from foods by the process of dehydration, smoking, freezing, preserving with salt or sugar. Foods treated in this manner have very low water content and cannot support the growth of bacteria. In this state, they also become shelf stable. Such foods as dried rice, dried pasta, or powdered milk will have a long shelf life if maintained in dry conditions. The amount of available moisture in a food is measured by its water activity value.
Say that again.
The amount of available moisture in a food is measured by its water activity value. Water activity is not the same as water content, but rather describes the amount of water available in food for biological activity. Water can be bound up in with other molecules such as fructose, or salt, and as um, and as such is unavailable to bacteria. Okay. Next area. Foods that have little water available to bacteria is said to have low water activity. Any food with a water activity value of 0.85 or less does not have enough moisture to support the growth of bacteria, and therefore it's safer than foods with a higher water activity. As water activity decreases, the safety and shelf life of the food increases. Such foods such as crackers and dried milk have a very low water activity. Both undesirable and pathogenic bacteria will not be able to reproduce on these foods. Which of the following bacteria cause spoilage of food? The answer?
No, Devin?
Undesirable bacteria.
She's out there.
Out there in the world?
Well, like, I know she was out there.
Under favorable conditions, bacteria can double their population every 20 to 30 minutes. Which of the following would provide favorable growth conditions for bacteria? Answer is C. Cooked pork stored at 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 3. At what temperature is rapid growth of pathogenic bacteria possible? Answer B. 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Number 4. In which of the following food bacteria may grow rapidly? Answer B. Low acid and neutral foods. Number 5. Which of the following is a safe method of storing potentially hazardous food? Answer D. None of the above. Number 6. What type of bacteria grows best at a temperature between 50 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit? Answer A. Mesophilic bacteria. Number 7. It may be necessary to remove foods from refrigeration during preparation and seasoning of foods. This process is called answer B. Must be done as rapidly as possible. 8. Which of the following is true regarding water activity level? Answer is C. Water activity is a measure of the available water in the food of biological activity. Number 9. Which of the following statements regarding foods that have a very low water activity is true? Answer D. All of the above. 10. Which of the following statements regarding bacteria is true? D. Pathogenic bacteria cause disease in man.
Diseases in men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's in man. 11. Which of the following foods would likely be the most shelf stable? C. Instant coffee. 12. Which of the following food is the least shelf stable? Answer D. Fresh meats. Okay. That's it for 5.
Okay, do we want to stop for just
Yeah.
a second?
Can we stop this?